This year was historic. It was exhausting. It was heartbreaking. It was like you were swimming in the ocean and getting hit in the face with wave after wave after wave of news. And at the same time, it was also affecting all of us personally. I became a photojournalist because I love telling stories about people. I basically always try and find the humanity of everybody that I'm photographing. Covering the White House is rarely boring. And then what specifically changed this year was COVID. Covering politics is about picking up on subtleties. We all know that there was tensions between the president and Dr. Fauci. It definitely became apparent at times just through body language and through the way that the president might glance over at him while he was talking. In this photo, that was when the president had to leave to go to Walter Reed after he was tested positive for COVID. Those are staff members at the White House. They are all standing there wearing masks. Before that, there had been pretty lax mask wearing, and it was interesting to see that change overnight after he was diagnosed. This photo kind of shows what I saw once he recovered from COVID. I hadn't seen him look so good. He was practically bouncing in his step because everybody, of course, was watching every move and every photo was scrutinized. So to me, this photo kind of symbolizes that. I've covered protests my whole career. This year, it was different. The people who came out to join in on the protests were much more diverse. The energy seemed to be rooted in a lot of frustration and anger, but it was also sustained. Another thing is we just saw escalations that we hadn't seen throughout the US before. This moment is the moment that will stick with me forever. It was at the corner where George Floyd was killed. And at one point the sky opened up and there was this one group of young people chanting, "I can't breathe," over and over and over again. And it was this powerful mixture of pain but also so much power. Tawana, it really said a lot that she felt the need to protect her daughter by putting goggles over her eyes. Just the casualness and the strength of mom. It was just important to show that power and that the reality, not just have photos of people suffering and people screaming, but also just the quiet moments, which were also very prevalent there. I did a portrait series on essential workers. I just needed to document some of the people who still had to go out and work every day. One example is this healthcare couple. They worked in a COVID ward together. So this portrait that I took of them is actually right after they got off their shift. It was also important to show the everyday people in our society who were keeping it running. The postal worker who is actually my local postal worker, the truck driver, the woman who cleans the COVID units, the person who works in the grocery store. COVID made us realize just how important they were. I think it was important for me to document that, to honor them, and also to document it for history.